Welcome you to another edition of TV Africa News. This is Africa Today. My name is Najma Loima, but first are the headlines. Human rights lawyer Isaac Semakade no show at Buganda Road Court. Government finally released the shillings 1.2 billion for burial arrangements of Jacob Olanya. Lucy Sabagino, 25-year sentence upheld. The prosecution appeal for life sentence rejected. Ace Villa coach Petros Kokaris fined. The Buganda Road Magistrates Court has extended criminal summons against renowned human rights lawyer Isaac Semakade after he failed to appear at court again. Semakade has, however, sent his lawyers, led by Bazeketa Derek, to represent him. Semakade was dragged to court by lawyer Robert Rutaromuhire in February 2022 for allegedly attacking the Civil Division High Court Judge Musa Sekana on his Twitter handle using obscene words meant to embarrass him. In the last court proceeding, Semakade, still through his lawyers, opposed the move by the Director of Public Prosecutions to take over the privately instituted suit against him after the DPP showing interest on grounds that it is a violation of his right to a fair trial. However, the prosecution led by Joan Keko before Grade 1 Magistrate Marion Mangeni told court that they had instructions to take up the matter and accordingly asked to be availed with all the court proceedings so that they could make a response to the defense regarding the applications and objections. When the matter came up yesterday, the state had not yet been availed with the court proceedings, and thus the matter was adjourned to the 12th of April 2022. Semakade's trouble started on February 15th, 2022, when he stood in solidarity with Malema Bilizi shortly after Justice Sekana sentenced him to 18 months in jail for contempt of court. He reportedly took to his Twitter handle and blasted Justice Sekana for the decision. Opposition Democratic Party has asked government to arrest and hold accountable the UPDF personnel that have killed innocent people during conflicts between pastoralist groups in the Karamoja sub-region. They say the solution is not to kill the warriors, but rather to be held accountable. Nalugo reports.
Yesterday, at a weekly press briefing at Nagulu Police Headquarters, police spokesperson Fred Enanga told journalists that the army has killed 20 Karamajongs in the ongoing conflicts between pastoralists in the Acholi sub-region. Today, while addressing journalists at their party headquarters in Kampala, DP Chief Whip in Parliament, also Mityana South Representative Richard Lumu, said the UPDF has well-armed personnel who can arrest warriors in the Karamoja sub-region or hold them accountable instead of killing them.
I don't know why they resort to killing them, because a well-armed army like the UPDF, they can arrest, they can even encircle the whole district, and then they ask those people to surrender their guns if they have them. But the notion of killing Ugandans, as the Democratic Party will condemn it, and we think government should see to it that the people who are killing each other, the people who are killing innocent Karamajongs, the way they want to refer to them, should be also arrested and be brought.
Livestock raiding and competition for water and pastures led to cycles of reciprocal violence between pastoralist groups in Uganda's northeastern Karamoja region. More frequent and severe droughts, as well as the proliferation of weapons from wartime neighbor countries, are further aggravating the situation. Violent conflicts between pastoralist groups in Uganda's northeastern Karamoja region date back to pre-colonial times. On the other hand, DP has also sympathized with the family of the late Speaker Jacob Olanya, whose body has been brought to Parliament today for MPs to pay their final respects ahead of his burial on Friday at his ancestral home in Omoro district.
So, the Acholi land has lost a great son. And on Friday, I'm very sure if the program does not change, we'll be late to rest. Now, I'm telling all people in power that one day everybody will be buried, however strong you are.
DP also asked for government intervention in the rise in prices of basic commodities.
The Director of Communication and Public Affairs at Parliament, Chris Obore, has said that government has finally released a shillings 1.2 billion to Parliamentary Commission for burial arrangements of late Speaker Jacob Oulanyah. Obore made the confirmation through his Twitter handle and said that the Parliamentary Commission will work with National Organizing Committee to ensure decent send-off of the late Jacob Oulanyah. He stated that the newly elected Speaker Anita Among and Clerk to Parliament Adolf Mwesige have marshaled all efforts to support the National Organizing Committee. Meanwhile, the Acholi parliamentary group is furious after the Ministry of Finance told it that it will not get any money to prepare for former Speaker Jacob Oulanyah's burial. The group has been decrying the delayed release of the funds for the burial of Oulanyah. After public outcry, government cut the budget from 2.5 billion to shillings 1.8 billion, and now they have confirmed it as shillings 1.2 billion. The group's chairperson, who is also the Clark North MP Anthony Akol, said the situation is frustrating, and with too much pressure from the district organizing committees in Laloji village, they have resorted to using their own money to facilitate some of the activities on the ground. He revealed that Acholi MPs have been contributing at least shillings 2 million to facilitate activities like the Bora dancers have since pitched camp in Kampala. Today, Oulanyah's body is at Parliament for MPs to pay their final respects. On Wednesday, there will be a state funeral for Oulanyah at Kororo ceremonial grounds. The burial will be held on April 8th at his ancestral home at Laloji village in Omoro, and the day will be observed as a public holiday. Let's take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. Rwanda's Court of Appeal on Monday upheld a 25-year prison term against Hotel Rwanda hero Paul Rusesabagina, who was convicted last year on charges of terrorism, rejecting a prosecution appeal to increase the penalty to life.
The court gave the ruling, arguing that the Hotel Rwanda hero was a first-time offender and 25 years sentence was in accordance with the weight of his crimes. Francois Regis Rukunda Kuvuga, Chief Judge at the Kigali Court of Appeal, said that the claim that Rusesabagina Paul confessed on charges and therefore can get reduced sentence is not valid, but since he is a first-time offender, the court finds that his sentence should not be increased because the 25 years he was given is in accordance with the weight of his crimes, and the court maintains his sentence. The former hotel manager was not in court on Monday during the ruling. Earlier in the day and before the verdict, Public Prosecutor Jean-Pierre Habarurema said given the significance of the charges of which Rusesabagina was convicted and the impact of those crimes on people and their assets, he should not be given a lenient sentence. Paul Rusesabagina had worked as the manager of a hotel in Kigali and helped shelter Hutu and Tutsi refugees there during the Rwandan genocide in 1994. He was accused of supporting the National Liberation Front, an armed wing of his opposition political platform Rwanda Movement for Democratic Change, with the group claiming some responsibility for attacks in 2018 and 2019 in which 9 Rwandans died. But Rusesabagina denies responsibility. The 67-year-old was arrested in August 2020 after he described as a kidnapping from Dubai by Rwandan authorities.
CEO Jeremy Kazingufu, who launched Paperbags back in 2017, has been awarded with the prize when he was among the 10 enrollees of the Challenge Enterprise competition organized by the Congolese government and the Congolese Business Federation. We have more on this report. In Goma, DRC, an anti-single-use plastic revolution is underway. It is in the western city of the Democratic Republic of Congo that CEO Jeremy Kazingufu has launched paper bags. The business produces sustainable paper packaging solutions. Thanks to this machine and a secret formula, the company offers an alternative to plastic bags. Every day, around 100 biodegradable packages are produced there. The business idea has proven successful 5 years after the launch of the company. Jeremy is not the only one happy with this alternative. Many Goma residents like Lozine Shamirimbi have made a habit of using biodegradable bags. If the green packaging market is still in its infancy, existing legislation already prohibits the production or the import of films and other plastic bags. The journey to clean streets may be long, but sustainable paper bags could be the small step paving the way to a giant leap in the battle against plastic pollution. Children and young people displaced by the war in Cabo Delgado, northern Mozambique, are expected to benefit this year from community social protection networks that the Portuguese organization HELPO is creating on the ground. They are part of around 25,600 people displaced by the war in Cabo Delgado, northern Mozambique. According to Carolina Reis, a manager of the initiative that the non-governmental development organization is launching in the villages of Mieze, near the provincial capital Pemba, these networks aim to give more support to children and young people, but also to their families, so that they can integrate and rebuild their lives. The Nets for Protection project works by bringing together people from each community who will be alert to vulnerabilities, abuses, and cases of exploitation, among other problems, in coordination with institutional actors and local leaders. Carolina added that each network has a representative who will go to Mies once a month for a general meeting of the 14 communities and institutions, such as the local administration, police, or other authorities, to discuss the situations detected and find solutions. The Emergency School Fund helps us says will be one of the visible aspects of the project, aimed at the most vulnerable families among the displaced and who leave most children out of school. The inability to buy school materials and uniforms are two difficulties already identified by the 11 project activists in the communities, although the directors of the 16 schools involved have already announced that displaced children do not need to wear the traditional uniform to attend classes. From that, 1 week after gunmen attacked a train with explosives in northwestern Nigeria, the whereabouts of 168 passengers are still unknown, according to the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
At least 8 people were killed and others missing on March 28th when gunmen detonated a bomb on the track and opened fire on the train linking the capital Abuja with the northwestern city of Kaduna. President Muhammad Buhari had said some passengers had been kidnapped, and survivors said gunmen had snatched a number of passengers, but it is not clear how many. It was the latest deadly assault blamed on heavily armed criminal gangs known locally as bandits in the region. In a statement late on Sunday, the NRC said of the 362 passengers on board the train when it was attacked, 186 had been confirmed safe. It said that of the 362 validated passengers on board the attacked Eken 9 train service on March 28th, 186 persons on the manifest are confirmed to be safe and at their various homes. The NRC said of the remaining 176 passengers, 8 have been confirmed dead, leaving the whereabouts of 168 still unknown. It said efforts were still underway to rescue the missing passengers.
Let's once again take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News. The right to know. In our business news today, Kenyan motorists endured another day of major fuel shortages on Monday, with hours-long queues and strict rationing at petrol stations as pumps across the country ran dry. The Kenyan government blamed hoarding and panic buying for the snaking lines at bosses that wasn't over the weekend, but oil dealers said they were owed outstanding subsidy payments from the state. We have more.
At many locations in Nairobi and elsewhere, motorists able to find petrol after many hours in line with cars, motorcycles and minibuses were limited to a rationed amount. The crunch began last week in Kenya's west, following a row between oil marketing companies and the government over subsidy payments, sources said. The government pays oil producers and subsidized costs at the pump for motorists, but these companies say they were waiting on 4 months of outstanding payments. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority said at the weekend that the government was working to settle all arrears owed to dealers, but the government blamed hoarders for the shortfall and insisted it had sufficient reserves to supply the East African nation of nearly 50 million. State depots were in possession of more than 69 million litres of petrol and 94 million litres of diesel as of Saturday, the Kenya Pipeline Company said. Kenya consumes nearly 400 million litres of petrol and diesel every month, according to government data. Black market operators, however, have reportedly been selling at 160 shillings as the shortage bites. There are fears the fuel crunch could see public service providers jack the cost of fares and add to cost of living pressures.
In our health news today, Ugandan feminist and also executive director of UNAIDS, Winnie Byanyima, has urged Ugandan women to stop bleaching their bodies, arguing that the act is a risk to their health.
While talking to journalists, Byanyima warned that those applying bleaching products risk getting cancer. She said some of the bleaching products contain poisonous chemicals that can cause cancer. Skin bleaching is the practice of using chemical substances in an attempt to lighten the skin or provide an even skin color by reducing the melanin concentration in the skin. Byanyima emphasized that there needs to be a law that protects Ugandans against use of harmful bleaching content in women's products. She also appealed to women to feel confident and beautiful in their natural colors, saying body bleaching is an awful practice. She said that dark-skinned people trying to get whiter, bleaching their hair from dark to white, are all remnant of slave trade, where we were not considered as human beings and where we were traded. Byanyima thus called for government intervention to protect Ugandan women against harmful bleaching products. She appealed to the health leaders and government to regulate the act.
And finally, in our sports news today, AC Villa head coach Petros Kokaris has been slapped with a cash fine of 2 million shillings for breaching Article 31(2) of the FIFA competition's rules. We have more. According to the FIFA competition's disciplinary panel, Kokaris was found guilty of breaching Article 31(2) during the Uganda Premier League match between Wakiso Giants FC and Ace SC. Kokaris, who was sent off in that game, played on 30th March 2022 at Kabaka Chabago Stadium, was found guilty of kicking a second ball in the field of play in persistent protest. According to findings, he also delayed to exit the field of play upon being shown marching orders. Petros incited the home team fans with his gestures and conduct as he exited the field of play, which incited them into throwing objects and subsequently stoppage of the game. The Greek tactician is required to pay the fine before getting back to the dugout. HC Villa's next league fixture will see them host eternal rivals Express FC. That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned.